Hey there, folks. Welcome to the Scoreboard Guy Network here, powered by KICK 92.3, home of the Royals in Springfield, Missouri, brought to you by Central Bank of the Ozarks, Plaid Giraffe Sports, and Postgame Pizza. And as always, Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us, take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. We are in episode 2 of our new venture here at the Scoreboard Guy Network. Last week, we were pleased to visit with a couple of state champion high school basketball coaches on the boys' side. Dusty Dinkins from South Iron in Class 1 state champion, and Class 2 state champion Steve Fowler from Campbell High School. Not switching gears too much, going to continue here with basketball, flipping to the women's side and adding to our, our hashtag Next 50 as we visit with the next 50 greatest athletes of the 21st century here. And we welcome to the line from, I guess that's the Plaid Giraffe down in Webb City, Missouri, and former Webb City Lady Cardinal and Pitt State Gorilla, three-time All-State, three-time All-American, Makala Burgess. And hey, Makala, it's great to catch up with you. It's been a long time.
Yes, it is great to catch up. It has been a while. It's fun to reconnect through this whole process here lately with everything. I've gotten to touch base with a lot of people that I haven't talked to in a long time, so it's been really cool.
Our first meeting and interview actually in person was, good heavens, almost 8 years ago down at College of the Ozarks for the Gerald Pills and Friends All-Star Game, where I was sitting on the sideline and I was just catching kids as they came off the floor. And a memorable moment for me. You probably have no memory of it.
No, I do. I remember. I really do. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun to get to put a face and a voice with someone you'd heard so much about. But let's go back first and talk a little bit about your high school experience. What are some things that you cherish that you're not going to forget? Maybe it's those relationships that you built. Maybe it's the Final Four trips that you made in your sophomore and senior year. But what are some of those memories that stand out?
As always, when I look back on on any of my high school career, my college career, it's always the people that tend to stand out the most. Just surrounded. My freshman year, I played with an incredible senior class. Kendall Clark, who went on to play at Drake, Caitlin Jager went on to do big things with volleyball. Haley Roderick played at Pitt State. Just an incredible class that really took me under their wing and led me my freshman year. Really, I just sat in all of them most of the time, but they were just such a great class to come in and practice with every single day. And honestly, the same thing happened to me my freshman year at Pitt State. I've been lucky enough as a freshman to just get to have really good leadership ahead of me that I feel like has really did develop me as a player early on, which is a really valuable thing. And then I had an amazing coach in Coach Shorter, Brad Shorter over at Carl Junction. Now he knew his X's and O's, and also just helped really develop me into a better person and a better player. And so when I look back, it's just the people. It is the Final Fours and the big games and the trip to Columbia, but it's just a lot of it is looking back is just the incredible relationships that I built.
As you go back in your high school career, I know you probably played other sports, maybe softball, things like that. When did you kind of know that you were, a basketball kid? And I know you and your mother both went into the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame here this past time with the Filbert Five. Your mom, Stephanie, was a tremendous high school and collegiate basketball player. At what point did you realize that it was just basketball as you move forward?
Yeah, it's a great question. Honestly, surprised me a little bit because I played softball from the time I could. Every single summer that I was behind the plate as a catcher, and never really gave a lot of thought to basketball. I mean, I loved playing it. I played travel basketball teams too. I think in our area, softball was just a lot more popular, and you had to travel north to get more into this AAU basketball and that kind of stuff. And so I really didn't start dabbling in that until my freshman year in high school. And I spent one summer playing AAU basketball and never looked back. And I mean, that's always where I felt, that's always where I truly felt like that was where my love was with basketball. I've always had a very competitive nature, and that just came to life on the basketball court, and with my mom loving the game too. It was just a really cool way for us to bond. And So yeah, I've always had a love for basketball, but I played softball and ran track. I knew quick track wasn't going to be my sport. So, but yeah, it was probably since my freshman year, basketball, I've had my eyes set pretty strong on it. So
And before you then make that change or that decision to go to Pitt State, that culture there at Webb City, and everyone talks about the football program and the state championships that Coach Roderick has won, but it is filtered in or carried over into other sports. Very successful in softball, very
mhm.
successful in women's basketball, men's basketball, state championship run. What is it about that culture there in that community that leads to so much success and so many athletes coming out of there?
I don't know. I look back and I mean, it's funny because I know nothing else. And so when I went to college, you have all these athletes coming from different high schools and you're talking about their experiences and they're talking about how they didn't really have summer weights. And I'm like, you didn't have summer weights. I was there at 5 a.m. with Coach Rod every single day in the summer. Like, I mean, it's just different. It's a culture of competitiveness and encouragement, and they truly want you to be your best. And they're just there to develop you as an athlete, but as a person too. I look back and still the coaches that were with me in 5 a.m. weights every morning are the ones that would text me after big games, or we still keep in touch. And so it's just a culture that really I think speaks to like a family environment. And they want to see you do your best, and they really do everything that they can to get you there.
Then you make that decision to attend Pittsburgh State University, and a lot of kids from Webb City make that. I know probably Coach Roderick's probably got a little bit to do with that, but what made that decision, and what, looking back on it, obviously was the right decision.
Yeah, it was really the first couple conversations I had with Lane Lord, the head coach at the time at Pitt State. He's just an incredibly personable person, and he just draws you in. His energy is infectious. He truly cares about you as a person, and it was really easy to see that from the beginning. And just the investment that he made into me as a person and as a player was something that I was really drawn to. Family is important to me, so I knew I wanted to stay close and be somewhere where I knew my family could travel and make it to every game. But even when we went to Puerto Rico and Hawaii, my family still managed to make it there. So
My goodness. And we're visiting with Makala Burgess, former Webb City Lady Cardinal, Pitt State Gorilla, three-time All-State player, three-time All-American, 1,800, over 1,800 points at the collegiate level, 333 three-pointers. Talk about that experience and then the memories there. A couple of different, tournament runs for the Lady Gorillas. What was that like?
we had some really incredible and special teams. Looking back again, it's the people, the players. But it's basketball season, such a long season, and it's funny. You got to really dig in. We had some really good seasons, but to get there, you really have to come ready every single day to practice. And that's where the leadership of upperclassmen that I played with, coaches, everybody from the athletic department down. It's just, again, a culture of success and a culture of encouragement, and just truly supporting you as a person and as a player. But yeah, we got to play, go to the tournament a couple times, which is a great experience. Won a lot of games, but again, it's just the people when I look back, and the relationships that I built that really stick with me.
As you make that decision to go to Pitt State, your degree, obviously, maybe early childhood, was this always a dream of yours to have the Plaid Giraffe? I know you're the owner, operator, cook, whatever you need to be there. And where did the name come from?
So I actually did my senior project in high school. You do this big project your senior year, kind of pick a career that you think you could see yourself, and then you do this big project on it. And I did my mentor for the project was the previous owner of the Plaid Giraffe preschool. So I met with her several times then in high school and did my senior project over owning your own preschool and running it and that kind of thing. And then fast forward to graduating college, I was job searching, and she approached me about teaching for her. So I jumped in, taught under her for a year, and then she approached me about buying the business and taking it over, which was funny because it was like we'd already had all these meetings about it, hypothetical situation when I was in high school, and here we were really living it out. So really just all the pieces fell in place, and I feel like God led me right where I was called to be. And so the name's hers, and I didn't pick the name, but I do love it, and it carries a very good reputation around here. So I'm to be in this position.
Any basketball goals up there in the facility?
Oh, of course. Are you kidding? One in every classroom and a gym at the end of the hallway. So we got it all here.
What do you miss the most about playing at the amateur level basketball?
I would say it's hard for me to find anywhere else to pour my competitiveness out into. Like, I mean, it seems like just the way you could step on the floor and compete, and just, I mean, the game of basketball, to have a ball in my hands and to work at it every single day. I just ate it up. I loved being in the gym. I think that's honestly what I miss the most, is just the hours in the gym, an empty gym, even just the ball in a basket, maybe a gun to rebound for me, and um, hours of free entertainment for me right there. But really just the grind of it all, the teammates, being surrounded by incredible people every single day. Those are the things that I definitely miss the most.
What would if you could, the 2021 Makala Burgess go back to maybe 2008 and talk to that seventh or eighth grader, Makala Burgess? What advice would you give her at this time?
That's a great question. Maybe suck it up. All the shots aren't going to go in, even if you want them to. But I don't know, just to soak up every single moment. And I think honestly, I really had incredible people around me that taught me that early on. And I'm fortunate that I had people that, reminded me of those things, to value the relationships, to, keep everything in perspective and remember it's just a game that you love dearly, but it is ultimately just a game. But yeah, just looking back, just have fun with it. There's going to be ups and downs, but buckle down, because it's going to be an incredible ride. So I'm extremely thankful for all the people I got to meet, and all the experiences I got to share with them.
I'm going to give you a date and an opponent from your senior year, and I want to see if you can remember anything about this contest. One is back on November 30th of 2017 at Nebraska Kearney. What do you remember about that game?
At Nebraska Kearney, let me think. What year did you say?
I think it was your senior year, 2017.
We lost. I'm pretty sure we lost. I think I had a decent game. I think
31 points.
I think I had a decent game, but ultimately and loss is all I remember.
You lost in overtime.
Yeah.
Nebraska Kearney, you had 31 points, which pushed your average up to 16.9 for the season that year. I'm going to give you another date,
Okay.
and maybe this doesn't stand out as well, but it's the same year, December 18th, just 2.5 weeks later, at Arkansas Fort Smith.
At Arkansas Fort Smith. My senior year. One time we went down to Arkansas, and I swear I didn't score a point in a game.
That was this game.
That was it. Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, you played 38 minutes, and were 0 for 13 from the field. You did have 6 rebounds, but that was just a couple of weeks later. You went on to finish over I think 16 points that year, and that's an All-American year. But a lot of times coaches especially seem to remember the losses more than they do the wins. Now, in your new role, speaking of coaching, not only do you own the Plaid Giraffe, you're also an assistant basketball coach at Junction. Kind of talk about that role and what led you into that.
Yeah, Coach Shorter contacted me after I graduated and asked if I'd be interested in coaching the 8th grade girls at the time. His daughter happened to be in 8th grade, and he was interested in me coming over there and helping out with their group. Since he was at the high school level, he couldn't get his hands on them quite yet. So yeah, I transitioned straight from the college basketball game to 8th grade girls, and let me tell you, that was a year that nurtured my patience. And but it was awesome. Incredible girls, incredible families. But yeah, so coaching high school, I just kind of stuck with it, moved up with that group to the high school level, and I just love it. You have some JV dogfight games that you're just like, whew, man, this is a whole nother level of basketball than I'm used to. But just, I mean, it's so fun to watch the girls, walk in similar footsteps that I once walked in. They need the same reminders that I needed when I was that age. Hold your follow through and keep in perspective that it's just a game, And it's just really cool to be a part of it, to build those relationships with those girls, and then also inspire them to want to be their best, whether it's in volleyball, whether it's in track, whether it's in basketball, just doing those same things for them that coaches did for me.
And we're visiting again with Makala Burgess here as a part of our hashtag Next 50 greatest athletes of the 21st century. We've already visited with one of the ladies that you mentioned earlier, Kendall Clark, also a Whip City graduate, went on to play at Drake, All-American, finished out her career at Nebraska. Back when the transfer portal first came about, she got to be a part of that. And she was the one who I was hoping would get an opportunity. She has this link, and she was going to try and join us here as a surprise, but she's busy up in Kansas City with her duties as well. But now you've got the All-American, the All-State. Now you're a TV star. And how did that come about? I'm watching the women's NCAA tournament, and I turn around and there's Makala Burgess on the TV. Tell us that story. How did that come about?
I was just walking by the studio when they happened to be filming and just decided to pop in and check it out. No, they reached out to me. Actually, they did a story. I did my student teaching my senior year, which Pitt State had never allowed an athlete to do their student teaching at the same time. And I met with a couple people, asked the right questions, and they let me do my student teaching. And so I student taught over at CJ, and convinced the principal to bring the kids over for our exhibition. We at Pitt State, they have an exhibition game every year where they invite all the local schools and pack the house, and the kids never pay attention to the game, but it's just a cool environment. So my kids from my class got to come over. Long story short, the NCAA did a story on it, and one of the people that helped write the story was actually in the meeting for casting for the commercial. And so she reached out to me, asked if I would be interested. Of course, how do you turn down something like that? So a week and a half later, I think, I was on a plane to New York, and the rest was history. Of course, COVID happened and stalled the process. Looking back, just again, such an incredible experience, such a really cool thing to be a part of. Got to meet some really incredible people. And yep, the commercial rolled out, and honestly, it took me by surprise when it did, when I see myself too. So yeah.
Well, I tell you what, it's been fun catching up to you, and you always, people talk about, I've done this now for 15 years, get to interview kids, and then later on as they get into their professional lives, you were always one of my favorite. I'll not forget getting to visit with you down at Gerald Pill's All-Star game, and now our families are somewhat connected as Tyler, your brother, works with my sister.
Yep.
In your grandparents' old business. And so yeah, I know that there's that connection, but Makala, it appears as if you're living your dream, and you've got to be pleased with where you're at.
Yeah, incredibly fortunate. And like I said, I feel like, God's led me on this journey the whole entire way. And I'm just surrounded by great people to be in a position to, build relationships with so many people and so many kids. Man, these kids that fill this hallway are just a light in my life. And so I couldn't ask for a better job. I get to do this in the morning and then dribble the basketball in the afternoon. So it doesn't get any better than that.
You bet. Well, Makala, I appreciate your time. Thank you for being so generous. I know you're busy. I told you this would be between 20 and 25 minutes, and because you're a teacher, I have to stick with that. So I'm at 22 and a half. So I'm right in the middle. But I appreciate, thank you so much for being part of the show today.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're listening to the High School Highlight Show here, powered by 92.3 KICK and Central Bank of the Ozarks. And we'll be back after these messages. Okay, we are done. Makala, thanks so much. And Jim, if you can hear me, I never did get to hear you. I apologize, but I'll text you and I'll send you a link to this as well. But Makala, and I'll email you a link once I get that first part of it taken out where I said S&H Farm Supply.
Okay.
All right. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Makala. Bye-bye.